All right, welcome everyone. This is a regularly scheduled meeting of the MRC board meeting. I thought I had the finance committee agenda for me. The MRC board meeting. It is 10:03 and we'll call this meeting to order. First order of business is an approval of the agenda. Does anybody have any changes they need to make to this agenda? No? Okay, we will move forward. Consideration of the minutes of July 24th, 2024 quarterly meeting and the September 30th, 2024 special board meeting. I'll take a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor of accepting? Was there any adjustments that we needed to make to it, or? I didn't see anything.
There were a couple typos, but I don't know if
There
we care
was?
about that.
Yeah, well.
Bowden.
I didn't notice.
Sorry. I read it.
That's good.
Yeah.
All right, all in favor of approving the meeting minutes? Okay, great. That's unanimous. Oops. Here. All right, next order of business is the approval of the slate for the 2024 MRC Board of Directors election. It appears, are you doing that, Mike? Oh, okay.
But I receive all the ballots. I receive all the ballots, and this is everything that came in and matched all the qualifications. I'm sorry, nominations, not ballots. I received all the nominations, and this is everything that came in the time frame that it was due to come in, and verified that they all qualified.
Okay, so we have 7 candidates for the, are all of them for the term 25 to 27?
No.
No.
So we have 7 candidates, and we have 6 slots. 3 slots are for a 3-year term. Those are the regular board slots, the regular rotation, we'll say. Then you have 2 slots that are 2-year terms, and those are for the slots that the board members had left. And then you have 1 1-year slot, which is also that same for a board member that had left.
You don't have to differentiate between them?
No, so after talking to our legal, it's gonna go by number of votes. So it's basically gonna go highest to lowest for the number of votes that come in, and that's how the slots will be filled.
Okay, for the record, the question from Steve Lewis, board member, was whether or not we needed to differentiate when we vote, and Mike's response was that it'll go by the highest number of votes, the lowest number of votes to fill those slots.
Because it's still the case, when people vote, they only get 1 vote, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
Yeah.
yes.
So in the future, would it make sense to change the bylaws? I mean, that just,
Hold on a second, I'll get that microphone.
I'm sorry.
That's all right.
I mean, there's nothing you can do about it now, but in the future, wouldn't it make sense to maybe change the bylaws so you can, it seems confusing, I guess, is the way.
So, can I answer that? So, we have had that discussion. This is a very unique situation, I think. Usually, you probably only have 1 slot. We happen to have 3 all at the same time on top of the regular 3. So, I've worked with our attorney, and he has written a draft, but with the timelines in our current bylaws, there wasn't enough time to put that through for this. But it is something that I would like to present to the board in the future, and it is something that we've already worked on and are prepared to present to the board. But the reason we worked on it is because of this situation. And remember, nominations have to go out 30 days, and then ballots have to go out 30 days. And then some of these unique situations that have happened to us are more recent, so.
All right, so I will take a motion to accept the slate of 7 nominees.
So moved.
Here a second? Second, okay. Excellent, we have a motion and a second. All in favor of the slate of 7? Oh, were you in favor? Okay. Right, so that's unanimous. Great. So 2023 audit update. I'm assuming I'm going to turn that over to George. George, are you hearing us any better?
I can hear you a little better, yes, thank you.
Okay, thanks.
2023 update on the audit. So the hope was to have the draft audit ready for acceptance by the board today, and as I'll discuss in the asset management letter. We're very, very close, but there's one item that is not going to be completed, and there's an internal review process to go through at the audit, like I said, in addition. The one item that we talked about in terms of the asset management letter is making sure that the MRC's equity position in MWS LLC is properly represented. There is a basis for doing it as we've done in the 2022 audit, that did not account for certain elements of the financial performance of MWS after, during 2022 and 2023. Did not include the 2022, but not in 2022 and 2023. The auditor needs to review that. I did speak to the president, innovator, he understands the problem. The next step is there's some internal work that we've done by Kevin at MWS. He's done that, we should take that on and get together with Donald Higgins, the MRC's auditor, and we'll get this meeting, talk about it. The hope is to finalize that process in November, have a draft audit ready for being accepted by the board by Thanksgiving, and certainly within December. So that's the status. It would be nice to get that. And now I have seen the draft with the little footnote that says this number is the final, which is the MRC investment in MWS LLC. But what we have done in the asset management committee, which I know is the next agenda item, is to actually make the MRC's current financials consistent with the draft audit in 2023, noting that the one item is subject to some uncertainty and may change based on additional information and the conversation between innovative and interested. So let me stop there. Questions about the status of the audit?
Questions for George? I have one, go ahead.
So did I understand you correctly that we're expecting to have the final draft at the December meeting and maybe vote to accept at the December meeting, the annual meeting?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, that's been very clear in the audit, I believe that's well within, that's quite doable. And really, there are a number of questions that have to be cleared up. As to my knowledge, as of my conversation this morning, everything is cleared up except that one question. And so if the rest of the process proceeds, there's an internal review at the auditor that has to happen as well. But presumably this will all happen in November, and I have to ask for a draft to be distributed, ready for distribution by Thanksgiving, so that there's actually time for some staff to look at what's been done before we vote.
Nice. Any other questions for George? Karen?
Well, it's not a question for George. And maybe Mike is going to talk about the RFP process in your update, or has any thought been given to the 2024 audit?
Yes, but I want to do 2 RFPs, but I was hoping to put that in the January meeting.
Okay.
Because the audit they'll all be tied up with tax time. We won't be able to talk to an auditor till spring, so I was hoping in the January, I was hoping to get through this year and in Q1 to talk about banking and auditor RFPs is what I kind of have listed, if the board's okay with that.
All right, any other questions for George before we move on to the asset management report? All right, thank you, George. Appreciate the audit update, and I'll let you take off with the asset management report.
Okay, thank you, John. It's in your packets, and some text in front, and then the unaudited financials of the package that we're going to get into. I think a couple of observations. The first is that as we go forward and move into and continue with the new arrangement, responsibilities with Innovative as the majority owner of MWS, and the MRC concentrating on management services and administration, with that distribution of responsibilities, the MRC's financials are a little bit simplified compared to what they had been when it was Dr. Sullivan or even before then when it was, when things were in receivership. So, the good news is the asset management letter is shorter than it used to be, and that seems to be in the state of affairs, so I'll go with that. What the letter does is just go through all the accounts. There are still multiple accounts, some of which are legacy accounts that were put in place for a purpose set forth under the prior arrangements. In some cases, that purpose is no longer in place or current, and so it makes sense to consolidate the accounts and reduce bank fees, et cetera, and make it simpler. That is in process. I think the first account which that is going to be moved in those accounts is the 343 cash for the other account, which actually have been in the name of Postal for the last 6 years. My understanding is that in October those funds were actually moved to an MRC account. So that's the first success in simplification. It's not shown here because these financials are as on September 30th, and that movement was done in early October. The consolidation is ongoing. Other than the amounts and balances, which I think speak for themselves, so I don't even think that's what take the time to go through them one at a time. But there are 3 changes on the balance sheet which reflect the accepted 22 audit and the draft 23 audit, even though that draft 23 audit hasn't been accepted yet. But if you look at table 1 and 3 items under the heading investment inside of facilities, you see there's a value of the given site of $5 million, the value of the contingency receivable from the purchase agreement, and the all the money, and then the equity, and then NWSLC. These are all items that started as of July 1st, 2023, so they'll be covered by the 2023 audit, and that was right after the closing of the sale of purchase interests in NWSLC from the MRC to Innovate. So that's why that change is on that date. You can see this, the historical information is provided, so you can see what the change was and what was on the MRC's books. For that date, the numbers shown are consistent with what would be in the draft order, with one exception. Because very, very briefly, the $5 million is really the present value of the lease payments over the 40 years of the lease and site lease, and it's consistent with the option value of the agreement. And so the auditor put that in as the value of the site, which replaces a book-based value, which we knew was not market value. The value of the contingency payment again goes to arrangements left over from the initial purchase. Purchase price was offset by payment of fees, and liabilities, and that is the $1 million, and that's shown on balance sheet as well. And then the third point is the equity in NWSLC. What's shown is just 10% of what the MRC funds was prior to July 1st, 2023. But that's a value based on MRC information. It does not reflect certain activities and proposing and in NWS since because which may or may not be applicable under GAAP. So for now, we're using the number that the auditor has as a placeholder. This is the number, the 207.3. That's the number that's likely to change pursuant to discussions that we've done related to liquidation, employment, innovator, and then another technical innovator in the same statement. It is a compensation ongoing review there that he needs to make sure he has the right number to ensure. There was some stuff called between Kevin and Dr. Higgins, and this is closed, the audit can be closed, and we can remove the notes because we'll have it after the time. It's the theory is that that's the developer makes a right number, and it's consistent with GAAP, and that's the estimation. So that's, those changes on the balance sheet, the statement of changes is consistent with that. So in terms of recommendations, it's just the recommendations we've had in the past, consolidate the cash accounts for Central County, consolidate the investment account, which has been approved by the MRC. But we again, which is a process that's already started. So that's the asset management letter report. And if you have any questions, I'd like to take them.
Thank you, George. Any questions? Looks like we have none. Great job, George. Doing it twice in a row in the span of 20 minutes. Thank you.
Well, try to be efficient.
Very good. All right, moving on to the treasurer's report. I will turn it over to Belle, treasurer. And I will give her the mic.
Thank you. I could shout, but none of you in the room would appreciate that, I'm sure. I think that I will start with the bills payable and then turn it over to Mike for the, actually, I can do the third quarter budget reconciliations. We had a little bit of conversation about who was going to do what, because I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to be here this morning. At any rate, the bills payable for September came out to the $42,000 number you see on your paper. We had some expenses that for September and October, the executive director, we had some software expenses, so that we now own our own Zoom account, so we don't have to depend upon others to host us anymore. We had the audit come through as well, and then some of the fees for Design Lab. Any questions? Oh, and we've switched to quarterly billing for Eaton Peabody, hoping that we can stay on top of that this way. Any questions regarding the bills payable? And do we, I was going to say, we have to ask for approval for the bills payable as presented.
So I would move that we approve the bills payable as presented.
Second.
Do I still run this bit?
I think you do.
All in favor? It's odd to turn it over to
Yeah, I don't know, sorry.
midway.
We got a vote.
Yeah.
Looking at the, yeah, I have it. The third quarter reconciliation here. We have, do I need to describe what we're doing?
No, I can briefly, every third quarter,
I can do it, I'm just
Right.
asking if I should.
yeah, probably
Okay.
just,
So we set a budget in December and then vote on it in January. And then in the third quarter, we kind of reconcile the activity and the projected finish with some adjustments to the budget upon board approval. So that's what we have here presented. There have actually been some fairly positive changes in revenue. We've had revenue come in a little bit stronger, an increase due to waste volumes for dues, a fairly small increase. The power utility, we do a pass-through for MWS, so they pay for the utility, but it's still in our name, because until they can show what the load is going to be at the plant, the request for the deposit is rather exorbitant. So we expected that to end a little bit sooner. We're thinking probably not until first quarter of '25. So we're extending out that that agreement. So you'll see an increase in revenue and also an increase in expenses for the two. We added a lobbyist mid-fiscal year. We're splitting the cost with MWS, so we'll see a $20,000 expense increase, but a $10,000 increase in the revenue. We also had significantly stronger interest returns on our operating account, so we've added $9,000 there. And we'll talk about how we balance it all out in expenses, but we've increased $83,000 in our revenue. Down onto the expenses line, we've added staff, but we added the staff a little bit later than we expected to, so we've got a decrease in that staffing line of $25,000. For the retirement plan and the health insurance, again, we didn't know when we were going to add staff, what that might mean for those two accounts back last December. Now we know what that means, so we're backing some of the funding out of those accounts. Board expenses, back last year, we had more sponsors for our board meetings. Now that things are okay, we kind of just underestimated our board meeting expenses, and that needs to be adjusted. We budgeted $110,000 for the marketing campaign, and we've started it a little bit later in FY24 than anticipated. It took a while to get the RFP out and get the marketing company on board. We're recommending reducing that line item by $35,000 this year, hoping that we can still purchase some of our our branding materials and a booth for Mike and paper stuff in December. Rather than keeping it in the budget and rolling it forward to next year, we did a little mock-up on the budget for next year and believe that revenues are strong enough to support the design lab contract for next year without any use of reserve funds. This contract extends all the way out to 26, so using kind of operating funds for this contract makes sense rather than kind of depending upon a rolling account. For the legislative advocacy, that's the mid-year lobbyist that we added. You can see that it's a $20,000 expense offset by that $10,000 in revenue. For the technical consultant, we needed to add a little bit more because of the complexity of the audit. But hope that next year, of course, that will be a little bit less. Sorry, George. The legal, Mike had bumped up legal last year, just in case there were any hangovers from the sale. That has worked out very smoothly. So we're recommending a reduction of $10,000 there. And the same for the communication, because that $3,000 is now kind of reflected in the marketing expense with Design Lab. Audits, because we're doing 2 audits in FY24, that cost has increased. The insurance, once the sale went through, Mike was able to renegotiate our insurance since we no longer had to carry coverage on the building. So that's a reduction there. And then I spoke about the utility already. And then we're recommending that we balance the expenses and the revenues with a payment, with increasing the payment back to the wealth management account. As Karen pointed out, when we put the money back into the wealth management account, that is returning it to the members. And even though that $160,000 payment back to the members that we're currently recommending seems a little aggressive, we still have the contingency fund and the miscellaneous fund that we have not really expended, so that's another $52,000 of projected expenses that have not been returning a little bit more to the members is an appropriate action at this time.
Yeah. Questions for Bill? Do we need to take a vote to approve the adjustments to the budget for third quarter? We do. Okay, thank you for nodding your head. I will take a motion to accept these changes to the budget for the third quarter.
Second.
Excellent. We have a motion and a second. All in favor of the changes? Excellent. It's unanimous.
Good work.
I feel like I just ran a mile. Oh, let's see, and then the financial statements from Leighton and Longton, which, oh, I moved it aside so I'd have it right at hand. So we are up and running now. Barbara is doing our QuickBooks for MRC and Leighton and Longton review and present their statement of review. And everything currently is aligning. I don't think there's anything outstanding that needs to be particularly pointed out.
All right, any questions for Bill on the financial statements? Okay. Not taking a vote on that, correct?
And I think I've covered it all now.
You guys voted on the budget.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And payables.
No questions, Karen?
Nope.
Okay, I realize
I can come up with a few if you'd like.
the accounting stuff. All right, so we'll move on to our favorite part of the board meeting, the executive director report. Turn it over to Michael. Thank you.
Thank you, Aaron. So, this report provides an overview of the MRC activities and developments during the third quarter of 2024, covering our operational statistics, key incentives, and relevant legislative updates. Tonnage stats. In Q3 2024, our members' total municipal solid waste, MSW, was 27,201 tons, an increase of 809 tons compared to Q3 2023, which was 26,392 tons. Key updates. Focus group meetings. In late August, we conducted 3 90-minute focus group sessions with our marketing partner, Design Lab. These meetings aimed to gather feedback on MRC's brand identity, educational efforts, and service representation. Each session had an average of 7 attendees, including MRC members, non-member communities, public representatives, and municipal government officials. 2 MRC board members attended each meeting also. Some of the topics covered were the effectiveness of MRC's name, challenges in municipal waste management, priorities for effective waste management. These focus groups are particularly timely as we approach the anticipation of the 2025 restart of MWS. We see an opportunity to reset our focus and reintroduce MRC to our members, stakeholders, and broader public after years of transition away from PERC. The board has already held an initial meeting with Design Lab to review their report and findings from these focus group meetings. We are scheduling follow-up meetings to decide the strategy and provide Design Lab with direction for MRC community, outreach, education, and branding incentives. MRC back office improvements. We've made significant strides in modernizing our back office operations. MWS has successfully implemented new accounting software for waste disposal invoicing, which MRC administrates. This transaction has been remarkably smooth, and we have achieved a substantial shift of members going to electronic invoicing. Given the high volume of weekly invoices we produce, this transition marks a major accomplishment in efficiency and accuracy. Additionally, MRC has implemented its own accounting software, which went live in Q3. We've integrated all financial data for this fiscal year into the new system. While we continue to conduct quarterly reviews and mirror our system with our CPA for checks and balances, we successfully brought most of the MRC's operational financials in-house. Maine Municipal Association Convention. MRC had a strong presence at the 88th Annual Maine Municipal Association Convention held currently in Augusta Civic Center, at the Augusta Civic Center. The event provided an excellent platform to connect with our members, update non-members, and showcase the benefits of joining the MRC. With the exhibit area completely sold out, approximately 800 attendees, our organization received significant exposure. It was great to see many familiar faces, including several of our board members. A highlight to the event was witnessing MRC's member Bangor Police Chief Mark Hathaway receive the prestige Ethel N. Kelly Memorial Award. The convention was well executed by the MMA. Financial update. This is the one you all want to hear. I am pleased to share some long-awaited news. As of October 2nd, we successfully closed the wealth management account that was previously under Coastal's name. The funds from the account have been transferred to our contingency fund. Thank you to all the MRC officers who played a role in making this happen over the past few weeks. Media and publication relations and public relations. Our public relation efforts have gained significant traction in the recent months. The press release we issued in September has been picked up by key industry publications. Waste Advantage featured our story, marking an important step in the increasing MRC and MWS visibility within the waste management sector. Additionally, Maine Biz ran their own story, referencing many points from the press release. The media coverage helps us to amplify our message and strengthen our position as a leader in municipal waste management. MRC observed National Truck Driver Appreciation Week last month from September 16th to the 22nd, recognizing the crucial role our waste drivers and crews play in keeping our communities clean and running efficiently. MRC and MWS took the opportunity to personally express our gratitude. I visited several drivers armed with Subway gift cards, refreshing Gatorade, and water bottles. Each driver also received a heartfelt thank you letter from the MRC and its members. The smiles and appreciation witnessed during these interactions were great. The initiative served as a powerful reminder of the essential role these individuals play in our waste management operations and in maintaining the cleanliness and health of our communities. MWS facility update. The third quarter has been a period of significant growth and development for Municipal Waste Solutions. We've welcomed several key additions to our team, each bringing a wealth of experience in construction and the waste industry. Gary Hartman, who is here with us today, has joined as the new Chief Operations Officer. Mike McCormick has taken a role as Construction Manager for Innovative. And Casey Fisher has come aboard as a Senior Processing Engineer, bringing extensive facility development experience. These new team members are already making a valuable contributions, and I'm excited about the experience and the fresh perspectives they bring to our operation. In terms of facility development, we've made substantial progress. Phase 1 funding for a materials recovery facility known as the MRF, updates and design changes, which Innovative requested in September, has been approved and finalized. This funding amount is over $20 million and will kick off the MRF construction revision. Demonstrating a proactive approach, Innovative had already placed a significant deposit on critical equipment for the MRF in late August, early September. This included machines designed to open bags at the start of the recovery process. Looking ahead, their next funding request will cover the investment required for the anaerobic digestion AD system. While the design and engineering for the AD system are still being finalized, we anticipate that this will also require a substantial financial commitment. These investments in staff and equipment underscore the commitment and dedication Innovative is making into the MWS facility. Kevin Hogan, CFO, and Gary Hartman, COO, will provide you with a more detailed update and background of everything happening at the facility just after my report. In legislative news, extended producer responsibility, known as EPR. In August, MRC took a proactive stance by submitting a public comment in support of Maine DEP's proposed Chapter 428 Extended Producer Responsibility rule. In our submission, we highlighted the potential benefits this rule could bring to our 115 communities and the Hammond facility operated by MWS. Our comments emphasize two key points: the importance to recognize anaerobic digestion in the rules, the value of utilizing large facilities like MWS to enhance recycling efforts statewide. We believe that our input helps shape a more effective and comprehensive EPR framework for Maine. Juniper Ridge expansion. The DEP has determined just recently that the proposed Juniper Ridge landfill expansion would provide a substantial public benefit. Maine Climate Council draft recommendations. The Maine Climate Council released its draft recommendations and is currently accepting public comments until 5 p.m. on Tuesday, October 22nd. While the document is extensive and covers a wide range of climate-related issues, there are two key strategies that are particularly relevant for the MRC and its members. Strategy E7, reduce and capture methane emissions from Maine's waste sector. This strategy proposes implementing plans to keep food out of landfills, providing subsidies to make methane capture system feasible for small landfills, incentivizing anaerobic digestion facilities, and supporting the diversion of food waste, manure, the diversion of food waste, manure, and other high methane producing materials from waste streams. And also we want to focus on strategy F10, increasing capacity of access to waste prevention and diversion services. This strategy focuses on providing state-level coordinated and exposure funding mechanics to additional regional capacity to help communities with waste management and planning. These recommendations align closely with MRC's mission and can provide new opportunities for enhancing the waste management practices and services. We will be closely monitoring the development of these strategies and considering how best to position MRC and its members for these incentives. That's my complete report. Be happy to answer any questions from the board. That was just a second copy in case I lost the first one.
Thanks, Mike. Any questions for Mike?
Great. Thank you, Mike.
Appreciate it. I put you on the spot for a second. Anything we can do or are doing to help out communities who are struggling with the PERT closure, the fire?
We have extended an olive branch to say that anything that we could do to help out, we would. Not we, the MRC, but MWS, so that has been done.
So, good. Any other questions? As always, great update. Thank you, Mike. All right. I think we'll get a facility update, and I'm getting that from both Kevin and Gary. Welcome to the... Oh, can you pass that down so they can... Kevin Hogan and Gary Hartman joining us at the table to give us an update of the MWS facility. Welcome.
Thank you. How's it going, Ed?
Good.
Well, I'll let Gary kick it off because he's the man who's taking charge of the day-to-day operations. We're really excited to have him on board. Gary has decades of experience in the waste industry, working at companies like Waste Management, most recently Waste Connections, where he's managed pretty extensive operations, including material recovery facilities. So we are very happy to have him on board and his expertise helping us move from, call it the engineering to the operational phase. So I will stop there and kick it over to Gary.
Thanks, Kevin. Okay, thank you. Again, thank you. Thanks for having me here. Special thanks to Mike and all of his team for everything they've done to keep the plant in great shape and ready for us to restart operations. So I really appreciate everything that's been done up till now. And again, I'm Gary Hartman. For those I haven't met, I've just recently joined the team here in working as the COO for the operation. As Kevin mentioned, my previous experience includes running operations up and down the East Coast, starting in Massachusetts for waste management and then moving to Charlotte area to run operations for the East Coast for Republic Services, and then recently, after the pandemic, ran operations in Albany and overseeing transitions in Massachusetts. The operation that I took over in Massachusetts for Waste Connections is actually a similar front end built by CP, a very similar plant as what we have here in with the MRC plant. I actually came up and toured the operation prior to joining years ago, as we had similar equipment, and we took some of our ideas and ideas from the MRC and implemented. So I'm very familiar with the front end operation, and as Kevin said, that's where we've been focusing our time. The anaerobic digester is still going through engineering and permitting phase as we do the development on that. But I'll talk about the specific items that we've tasked here. And again, my focus has been really on the requirements associated with bringing the operation back so that we can accept waste and do some processing to divert material from going into the landfill here soon in 25 for at least accepting waste and then diverting waste later in 25. As Mike mentioned, we're still going through the retrofit and adding additional equipment to the MRF. But as we continue to look at accepting the waste, we've completed the requirements for the permit that associated with that, and Paula has helped ensuring that's through. We've got that documented, and we continue going through the next phase, which is the infrastructure of some of the items that have been offline while the plant has been idle. These include operational items like the scales, getting them recertified, getting them moved over to our names, getting the licensing correct with the state, as well as we continue to enhance the fire protection system while it's been there and operational. We're looking at not only reporting fires, but actually taking a proactive approach with a vendor to prevent fires from happening, as well as extinguishing them when they're detected. So instead of waiting for the fire department to show up or smoke to burn through a roof, we're taking a very proactive approach to that, and we're working with a vendor through that. We're also setting up a phone number, so we'll have signs posted in an area where people can call in any comments or concerns about the plant. So we'll have that in place. As we once we have the infrastructure in place and ready, we'll begin sourcing our yellow iron, the trucks associated with it, as well as all the resources from a people need to run the plant. And we really do. We really look forward to working with Mike and the MRC community here, in all of our project partners to bring this project to fulfillment and actually succeed in the vision that the MRC has put forward for this great asset that we have. And I'm excited to be part of this team to bring that forward. So thank you.
Thank you, Gary. Before I open up for questions, I just want to, and I think I speak for all of us, we understand that MRF, the front end, is so important, getting that material prepped so that it can be properly sorted. That's a vital part of the success of this, and the experience that you bring to bear is really exciting. So I'm very happy to have you aboard and aiding us in our journey.
Well, thank you. It was a pleasure to have you over to the facility as well. And as Mike said, we've also invested in buying the bag openings. We're working on installing those as we speak. So we continue to make critical investments and substantial investments in those, as Mike talked about, the total money that's been allocated. So it'll be soon we'll actually see the fruits of all of this investment here.
Any questions for Gary?
So are you still looking at Q3 of next year for waste coming into the MRF, hopefully? At least as a,
Yeah, so we're hoping to take waste earlier than that on, I'll call it a more limited operations, and then ramp up the functionality of the MRF. So the short answer is yes, we're hoping to have the MRF up and running by the
Yes.
third quarter of next year, and
Excellent.
hopefully taking waste sooner.
Sooner than that, exactly. Get all the equipment in place and then start diverting some of this material instead of going to the landfill. Then, by then we'll have the design in the, really the anaerobic digester finalized, so we can move towards putting that project in place. So that'll be a separate project once we get the MRF running. Okay.
Good question. Thank you for clarifying. It's important to all of us, the timing.
Have you found a way, I know in the previous plan,
Yep.
have you found a way to deal with them?
Yeah, we believe we have. Well, we have seen improved technology to do some sizing of material along with the opening of the bags. And that's what we're gonna put in place at the front end. And we're gonna actually take out some of the equipment that has the most subjective to wrapping. We're actually gonna procure a screen that has the ability to reject those items before they get into the process. Something that's in place and works in Europe.
Yeah, and so right before Gary joined the team and James, who's on remotely, James and I toured a few facilities in Europe that process MSW through a MRF, and they had it's a hexagonal screen that has anti-wrapping technology. Effectively, it doesn't stop when you ideally still want to get rid of all that as much as you can, and we're going to work on that. And we have some solutions
Yeah, so-
for it. But the screens that were dealing with it before weren't really equipped to handle it. It was more of a single stream mentality, whereas we think we've redesigned it at this point to be a true MSW.
But obviously, that is a big impact to the operation. So we're taking 3 steps. First, sizing, then a screen that proactively does not wrap, and then we'll have resources in place, people in place to ensure anything that's detrimental to the system doesn't get any further. In the prior system, it was really relying just on humans, and that proved to be both overwhelming and unsuccessful.
I had a couple questions about permits.
Sure.
You mentioned a MRF permit. Has that already been received? Is that complete?
It was really a formation of our permit to allow us to be a transfer station, so we could actually start taking the waste in without processing it.
Okay.
Okay, so that was what the other permits are already been in place.
And then my follow-up question is the new permits that you'll be working on. I remember at the last quarterly meeting, I think James, or must have been James, mentioned that as part of that permit process, there'll be some public information meetings that will be required, and I'm wondering about the status of that and timing of that.
Yeah.
Hey everyone, sorry couldn't be there. Yeah, so on the AD side, so we needed a certain, we're probably guess, Karen, I don't have a great answer for you on a firm date. I
So,
was hoping it was gonna be kind of like, November timeframe, but it's not gonna happen in November.
Yeah.
That I know.
so it sounds like what, four permits we're talking about, and each permit has a public meeting? I'm just trying to get the
No,
public,
It's one common meeting.
Okay.
It's just one common.
and it's just one meeting that is required? Ah, okay. Well, I might suggest that January be better than December, but I know timing-wise, maybe you guys don't want to hold it up, but, and hopefully we'll be working with Design Lab to coordinate that concept or information, or, I mean, I know it's your guys' thing, but
No, but
it's an
important
opportunity
that
for us to
it's
reach out to our members and to the public in general, and really it's going to set the stage for the image of the plant, and I think we really need to be thoughtful about how we roll it out and how it's talked about. Particularly in light of this lovely Bangor Daily News article, front page the other day, if people saw that. Production of, quote, renewable grass growing in Maine. Sounds positive, maybe, but most of the article is negative. So I encourage all of you to read it, because that is what is going to happen at the public meeting.
Will do.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry, Karen, did you say SAF, SAF, Sustainable Aviation Fuel?
No, it was, it's actually cow manure type things. It's Peaks, it was an article about Peaks Renewable in Clinton. But this idea that kind of like your E7 thing, like the state's kind of talking about capturing methane and, keeping stuff out of landfills and using, making natural gas out of it, but people are really down on that as an environmentally friendly thing to do. So there's definitely opposing feelings about it. So, we just need to be thoughtful about how we're talking about what the plant's going to do and the positive aspects of it, and just not be cavalier and think, oh, everybody's going to be happy that, we're doing something with the waste that's productive, because it's not that simple.
Understood. Okay, we'll work with Mike to make sure that the message is coordinated. Gary covered it all.
Thank you very much. Yeah, sorry about that. Hopefully nobody else's mic was on, so I didn't pick any of that up. We did not have any public comment. Just to recap the last three bullet points, we did not have an executive session, and so we need to take no action as a result of that. So at this point, I will take a motion to adjourn the board.
Second.
Excellent. All in favor?
Aye.
Excellent. That adjourns our meeting at 10:58. Thank you very much for everyone's time.
Nice.
Thanks, James. It was great to see you again.
I know.